What's up, guys? I posted. So anyone, I guess everyone liked seeing me cook. Oh, let me take this out of my ear. Everyone likes seeing me cook sushi with my mom. So I'll see if we could do some more videos like that. I seriously doubt it because she didn't. I guess she forgot she was on camera or what. I don't know. But I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna say nothing about it because it was actually a really good video. It was peaceful. It was calm. There was no stress. There was no anger. There was no issue. We just were happy and we posted a video and we did it. And I look crooked. I need to like turn this way. Anyways, so I'm having stew out of the can. I don't really like it, honestly. Me and my mom said it both smells like dog meat, dog food. And I'm like, look at that. Like, guys, but. Oh, I didn't say guys, dear God bless this food. You say my mom. I'm not a fan of it. Then we have my trusty tea. It is cold, guys. It is literally 42 degrees like it was all day yesterday. Hold on, I gotta get a tissue. It is 40, and I'm ashy again. It's 42 degrees outside. My niece comes today. My son comes today. They're my best friend that I've known pretty much since I've been in Florida. So for 18 years. He comes tomorrow with his family. So it'll just be like a full house. We're just all gonna hang out. I don't really think we can go do anything because it's so freezing cold. So we'll probably just chill. And then they all leave Sunday because, you know, they all have school on Monday. So it's like a quick little sleepover. But my parents right now went to go run some food to the school that, you know, helps all these kids that are like, some are homeless, some have really bad situations. So my mom brings like noodles and pasta sauce and sometimes like granola bars and chips and hot chocolate and all that different stuff just to kind of give back because she meets with these kids like every single Wednesday and she tells them about God. And so a lot of the kids, because she's been working with this school, I want to say since 2017, 2018. And it was so funny when she started working for the school. She was like, okay, Matthew, I'm going to be at this school all the time. I'm not going to be home. And I'm like, Mom, I'm 21 years old. I'm not a baby. Like, you can go do what you want to do. But she's like, no, I just want you to be like, you know, it's just going to be you, really the man of the house and da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, okay, Mom, I got it. So then at that time, my best friend Dee was here. So it was like super, super awesome. But there was a story time that I wanted to tell you guys. What was I going to? Shoot, what was I going to tell you? There was something I was going to tell you guys. Oh, okay. So you know that family that I was telling you guys that I was staying with, the one that hit me all the time, right? Well, he was a private pilot like my dad was, right? My dad flew the F-16s in the Air Force and he worked on planes and all that different stuff. That's why his hearing's not that good because the hangars are super loud. That's why a lot of people who worked on the planes back in the day go deaf when they get to be in their 60s and their 70s. His hearing actually started going probably like in his late 40s, early 50s, right? Anyway, So there was this one time when I think I had to be like 4 months into this house staying with this family. Because remember, I was with them for 7 months, right? So I think I was like 4 months into staying with this family. And I'm like, you know what? After, you know how I told you guys my dad would come like every other weekend to come see me or come to the house like every other day after. Because his office was right down the street from where, not right down the street, but it was the same little town called Beaver Creek, Ohio. So his office was where they make the ball jars that you guys saw in my video the other day. And they used to work with Space. When my dad came, they were still working with Space. And then they moved to, or no, they were still making jars. Then they went into Space and they were working with the Air Force. So my dad was there until we moved to Florida, technically. So anyways, so this happened like right after 9/11. This was like 2003, 2004. So this was like right when I was like 14, right? So after my dad kept coming and saying, I don't think he's ready yet. He could stay with you longer. I don't think he's ready yet. And after running around and getting beat every time I would run away from the house, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I don't care no more. I was like, you know what? If this is going to be my new life, she's going to help me get my reading better. I was super small. I wasn't overweight, so it was fine. I was treated, minus getting hit all the time, it was still not a bad place, honestly, right? And so I was like, And honestly, if I can be completely honest, I was treated a little bit better from the sibling standpoint because it would be the oldest sister was like 17 at the time. Then it was me and the younger sister who were like 14, the same age, literally like a month apart. Not even, I think, yeah, we were like a month apart. She's like July 1st and I'm like June 26th. So I'm actually older than her. And then there was the other son who was like 12. Then there was the 8-year-old. Then there was like the 5-year-old, right? So it was like that, right? So there were 3 boys, well, 4 boys if they would have counted me, and then 2 girls. So, anyways, so Danielle was so, shout out to you, Danielle. I think she's a firefighter. Danielle was so bossy and controlling and like was like she was like the mama of the house basically. Like she washed the clothes, she cooked the dishes, she cooked the dishes, she cooked the food, and I would help her a lot. So anyway, getting to the point where I was like, you know, my parents are not gonna come get me no more. I fucking don't care. I was like, okay, fine. So we're like, I said 4 or 5 months in, right, to my 7-month stay. And I was like, you know what? Can you guys adopt me? And I remember her sister came down from Georgia to visit, or came up from Georgia to visit. And she was like, he's such a sweet kid, you know, I just think he needs a little more guidance, da 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 da. So she started helping me with my reading and everything. And she was just so sweet. And then she's like, we got this. We can have him reading by the end of the month or something like that, right? So I literally was like ready. Like the lady, the mother, she contacted her family lawyer and was like, hey, on what grounds can we adopt him? Like, how can we get him? Like, she pulled up the paperwork and she's like, if you really want me to adopt you, and I'll never forget, it was like Christmas time. And a bunch of their family was coming in to visit. And we were playing downstairs in the basement, and we were playing. A lot of kids that were homeschooled always played house. Like we always played like house, and then we would play like school, and it was just like we always played like these different games. And I remember we were down in the basement, and I remember we were playing board games and different stuff and having fun and watching cartoons and just running around and being goofy. And I remember it was like Christmas time. It was cold outside. It was snowing. And I was standing on the stairs. She called me upstairs to come say hi to whoever it was. I think it was like her mom and her 2 older sisters. And, you know, she's like, oh, we have this boy staying with us. His name's Matthew, blah, 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 blah. So she's like, Matthew, can you come upstairs? So I come upstairs, I meet them. And then the other sister was a lawyer. And she was like, yeah, we could drop the papers right now and you could get him because you could say his family abandoned him or something like that. And so I turned around and I'm like, really? And I was like all excited, you know, because it was like a new chapter in my life. And I was like, you know what? I'm done with the Cross family. They don't want me no more. I'm done. So I was ready, guys. I was ready at 14 to be adopted into another family, another big family, and not be a part of this family no more. Like I was so ready because like, you know what? They don't want me. They don't care. They got their 5 kids. They're good. You know, this was always planned. So then I remember like right before she really could do anything, my friends, like I were telling you, that were looking up, you know, trying to help me get out of the house, they already had a conversation with, they had some private meeting. I don't know how they did this, but they had some meeting where they were able to get a hold of my mom, tell my mom, hey, we're going to get Matthew out of that family's house. He's going to come stay with us. We'll hold him until you guys are ready for him to come home. And my mom was like, I'm ready for him to come home now. It's my husband, da, da, da. So she's like, don't worry about it. We will take care of Matthew. We got him. So the weekend before I left was Christmas Day. And then New Year's Day, we stayed up all night. We watched the ball drop. And then, excuse me. And then that following week, that following Wednesday was Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, whatever it was called. It was some type of scout. And I was one of the leaders. And so I remember I had one kid on this hip because there was like this kid that always cleaned to me. I forget what his name was, Sammy or something like that. A little 5-year-old, 6-year-old that I knew him like since he was born. So I was holding him. I was walking up the steps because I had one of the little I was like one of the scout leaders. So I had one of the kids in my group that had to go around to each room and get his merit badge, his community service badge, his handy. There was all these different badges that you had to get that they kind of put through the whole. We had a big mega church, so they had to do it in like all these different rooms. So I was like holding Sammy here, who was like his little brother, and then I was helping him, and we were going up the steps, and then we were going to each room, and then he had to read over his thing, and then we went to his dad, who was one of the scout leaders. So he was like, "Hey Matt, so how's so and so doing?" And I'm like, "He's doing good," and he read over it, and then we left there. And we went to the auditorium room where they had to do all these different like relay races and everything like that. And it was like me, my friend Darren, and then it was my friend Sam, and then it was his sister, and then it was 2 lead counselors that were there at the church. And we were just playing, we were having fun. And then Darren was like, "Yo, bro, we're getting you tomorrow. Like, no joke, we're getting you tomorrow after church." And I was like, "All right, cool." So it was Thursday night Bible study. And I remember that morning, the ladies' 2 kids had piano practice, and we were sitting in the ladies' driveway. We were in the van, and it was me, the lady, her son Joel, who was the baby, and me. And back then, cell phones were big, okay? There were no flip phones. Cell phones were big, right? So you could kind of hear the whole conversation if you really listened. And so me and Joel were playing on remember the little guy that had all these little red buttons, and you had to like push the right buttons to know like where his heart was, where his lungs are, where his whatever, where's his legs, So we were playing on that little toy thing, and we were just like whatever. And I knew it, because I was homeschooled. So I was kind of helping the 3-year-old learn how to do it. So he was like sitting in my lap. I was in the back seat. She was in the front seat, and she was like, "Yeah, we're at so-and-so's piano lessons. We'll bring them tonight." And so I was like all excited. So we get home, and then she's like, "Okay, Matthew, well, you're going to go stay with Darren's parents or Dylan's parents, and then you're going to move to Darren's house. And then whenever your parents say you can come home, you can go home." So I was like, oh my God, I was so thankful. So I go home back to their house, pack up my bag really quick. And then I was sad because the little kid was all sad. He's like, "Why are you leaving? Like, I want you to stay, And I'm just like, "I'll still see you around. I just have to go somewhere different now. I've been with you guys for 7 months." "No, I don't want you to leave. You're like my best friend." It felt bad because me and him connected really fast at that time. And even the other 2 brothers too were like, "We're sad to see you go," and the sisters. So then I remember I gave them all a hug. And then at church that night, because there was choir practice rehearsal the night on Thursday nights. So, because you would play on Sunday mornings, or Sunday at all the services. So we went to practice. They were all in the band with Dylan's mother, because she sang like opera. She has such a beautiful voice. She reminds me actually of my sister-in-law. And so then they're from Russia. Their family was from Russia. His mom and dad, and funny fact, actually, his mom and dad were my Sunday school teachers when we were all in the 1st grade. So they already knew me, and I loved them. They were super, super cool. My dad worked with his dad. It was such a small world. But anyways, so that night after church, we went to McDonald's, and then we went home, and then I slept in Dylan's room with him, and I slept on the floor. He had the bed, and then we just had so much fun. And then his neighborhood was like my neighborhood. The houses were big and fancy and whatever. And they were still building the back neighborhood. So we went and played in the mud hole, because back then you didn't have to worry about alligators, or you did have to worry about Watterson moccasins, or whatever they're called, poisonous snakes, but you could see them in the water. So we were playing in the mud with him, me and his adopted sister. And then when we came back, his mom had to spray us down with the water hose, and then we had to go take showers. And then his grandparents were coming over, who were so sweet. And the only thing I did not like about his house was when you drink something, you had to have sippy cups. And I was like, I am not a baby. I was like 14 drinking out of a sippy cup, because his parents had very fancy furniture, and they didn't want the kids to spill on the furniture. So I guess it makes sense. So you had like these chewed up, because you could see people who were chewing like the tips of the sippy cups, because that's what babies do. And so they were like chewed up, and you're drinking like apple juice or orange juice or like cranberry juice or something that would stain. So we had to drink that. And then we were like pushed to the basements when the adults were having parties. Like kids who were back then were not seen or heard from. You were pushed somewhere in a room or something like that when I was growing up. So we were like pushed in the basement, and we had to watch those dinosaur movies. I forget what they're called, but we had to watch those. Dude, I felt like the biggest baby. I was like, what the hell are we watching? But we ended up just playing with like the Nintendo, And the sister watched those shows, and we were like in the other corner playing the Nintendo, and we were just like not really paying attention to that. And then she brought us down some pizza that she ordered us. And then I think like around 10 o'clock, the party wrapped up, and then we came upstairs, went to sleep, and then we had church that Sunday. So it was kind of weird to see the family on Sunday, because the other family I was staying with felt like they were kind of like I was kidnapped for them. And then my mom was like, but you kidnapped him from us. But anyways, so it was kind of funny. And then I saw my parents that day too on Sunday. My mom gave me a hug. My little brother hugged me. They didn't want to let go of me. My dad really didn't say nothing. He just was like, hey man, kind of cold shoulder. And then my cousin Sean was getting married in 2004. And so we had to go up to Jersey, and they were iffy. They were like, do we bring Matthew? Do we not bring Matthew? Do we bring Matthew? Because they didn't want there to be talks of where's Matthew. So I only got to stay with Dylan for, I want to say 2 or 3 months. I know I basically got to Dylan's house, I want to say in February, and I only got to stay until May. So February, March, April, May. So 4 months. I got to stay 4 months with him. And then I had to go to my cousin's wedding. No offense to you, cousin, you know what I'm dealing with, but I really did not want to come back home. I was having the best time of my life. And even Dylan's parents were willing to adopt me too. Like, I did not want to come back to this. Anyways, but anyway, so when they brought me home the night before we left, I remember I was talking to Dylan in the car. He was talking to my little brother. I was like, it was like a scene out of the movie. It's like he put his hand against the window. I put my hand. I'm like, I don't want to leave. He's like, you have to. But your parents said that you can come back over for sleepovers. I can come over for sleepovers. So this is not the end when you guys get back from Jersey. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I still didn't want to go. And there's a picture of me and my mom on the ferry from New York to Jersey. And you can see how skinny I am. And I was wearing a shirt that like, real men don't need instructions. That was my shirt that my mom bought me from like, I think Walmart or something. And I wasn't wearing overshirts at the time. I could wear one straight shirt because I wasn't fat at the time. I want to find that picture. I don't know where it is. But it's a cool picture. And it was around this time of this picture. That was around that time. We took that right before we left. My mom made us take that was a picture for the church, for our church that we went to, Patterson Park. You can look them up. They're still in Ohio. That was the picture that we took. They're a mega church now. They weren't a mega church they kind of were, but they weren't as big as they are now. Like Joel Osteen or TB Jakes. They're like humongous now for Ohio. They were like they were a mega church, but they're like a humongous mega church now. Like they have a YouTube. Anyways, they're humongous now. But pretty much all my friends are gone who knew me. But when I came home, guys, oh my gosh. When I came home from Dylan's house, my parents, the room that I was sharing with my little brother, they've done this to me 3 times now. When I came home, I really didn't have a lot of stuff at all because I just had like I didn't really have anything at that time. I didn't really, because my brother broke all my cars when we were little. I really just did not have a lot of stuff, right? So it was easy. It was easy to move me out of that room. So anyway, when I came home, my bed was in my mom and dad's room. My brother was still in the little nursery. And I was like, what the hell? I'm like, this is weird. Like, they're married. Why am I in a room sharing with them? So like when my dad would get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning with the lights on, I would wake up. When my mom would get up at like whatever time to like start her day, I would wake up. So I was only in there, I want to say for like 2 months or something. Not even, I want to say maybe like 2 weeks because they were like, wait, we can't really do a lot with Matthew in here. So then they moved me back into the room with my little brother. And then we shared that room until we moved to our rental house. And the only thing we told my mom and dad when we got the rental house, we want our own rooms. And they were like, okay, fine. So we got our own rooms. But anyways, that's another story for what happened. But it sucked, guys. I did not want to come back to this family. I don't know why. It was not, I'll have to tell you guys that story. I don't want to start any attention now because I don't know if she's watching the cameras, but like, I did not want to come back here. I really did not. Like, I literally had my freedom. I was almost gone. I don't know why stupid me ran to this house, like literally for the 7 months I was with that family, running away every day, running away, getting hit, running away, getting hit, running away, getting hit. It was like I could not understand, like, dude, you're gonna get beat when you get home. Stop running away. Like, I didn't even care how much pain I was in. But dude, I walked the most I've ever walked when I was 14 years old, because I walked like 10 miles more. Like, I mean, dude, I walked. Rain, it did not matter to me. Rain, snow, hot as hell. I just walked because I was determined to get home. And I always made it like, I almost made it halfway there, and then someone would see me. Like, there was this one time, I know we're almost late, but you guys love my stories. There was this one time, okay, so the lady and her daughter, right? She was getting her hair done, and you know, she's black. And so she was getting, no racist thing, but she was getting a weave put in because we were going to a debate in Virginia, right? Just right down from us. He would drive down. So she was like, I don't know what I want to do with my hair. Her hair was very short. So her mom was like, just get a weave put in. So she was going to get a weave put in, and she's like, okay, so we were going into my town, into Xenia, Ohio. And so we were going into Walmart so she could get some of the gel and all the different creams. And I'm like, okay. So the night before, I'm like, okay, so we're going home. We're going to be super close to the house. What do I do? Should I run away? Should I call my best friend William to come pick me up? Like, what should I do? So what happened was we go to Walmart, right? And she told me before I even got out of the car, she was like, Matthew, don't do anything. Don't run away. Don't do nothing. Just, just stay in the car. That's all she said. She's like, okay, I'm going to leave you in the car. I'm not going to lock the door because I don't want some cop to come by and say that we're locking you in the car and it's child abuse. And she should have done that shit because then I would have got home. But anyways, so she was like, stay in the car. This is like 2003, guys, 2004. Times are way different back then. So that smells weird. Lemon lime. I'm drinking lemon lime. Not the soda, just lemon lime with water and hot water. It's supposed to help me lose weight and cut stuff. I've been going to the bathroom like crazy. Anyways, TMI. So I remember, so they went in this store, and at this time, it wasn't a super Walmart yet. Super Walmarts weren't that big in the early 2000s. They were just Walmarts, right? So, but we had both. We had clothes and we had food. So maybe it was a super Walmart, but they didn't call it that yet. So we're in this little shopping center. So you have Walmart, and then you have Kroger's, and then you have all these little stores in between. And you had an Aldi's and a dollar store and a Chinese buffet that we always went to, and then a Domino's pizza, a haircut place, a tax place, a baby store, and there was something else that was in there. It wasn't Domino's. It was Little Caesars. It was Little Caesars that was in there. And then a really good Chinese buffet. So anyways, I remember so they went inside. I ran inside. I remember that there was a payphone, right? And the way to use it, and so I grabbed a quarter. I went to the payphone. You kids don't know what payphones are. So we went to the payphone, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to call mom because, dad could be home, someone could be home or whatever, right? So I was like, okay, let me call William. So I call William. He picks up. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm at Walmart right here in town. Get your mom. You guys come.